What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Prop Queen Pod here on this Tuesday. I'm Ariel Epstein, the Prop Queen. NBA playoffs play-in start tonight. Hakeem Prophet going to join the show at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Nobody that I would trust more than Hakeem to help us break it all down when it comes to the NBA playoffs. He always tells me when I'm right or wrong, too, because I love betting numbers, and he just loves betting narratives, so it makes sense. We've also got Mid-Major Matt coming on at 5:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Big slate in Major League Baseball tonight. I'm going to talk some Major League Baseball strikeout props. He's got some other props from around the league as well. I'll break down my thoughts on Major League Baseball strikeout props, hitters to watch, hitters to fade. There's a surprise hitter for the second night in a row that you should be fading, or at least not betting overs on tonight. Fishy line, it's a good one. Really good one. I love when there's only one fishy line. It gets me nervous when there's multiple, like yesterday. Today, one fishy line on the MLB slate. There are a few prop edges in the NBA as well for tonight's two games. I really do hate betting Warriors props. So if you're waiting until the end of the show for how to bet the Golden State Warriors, don't wait. I've got props against them, not for them. So much like drama going on X right now. I wanted to make a comment about it, but I'm just going to stay out of it. I don't feel like getting involved in drama. But everyone just takes life way too seriously these days. Just laugh. It's okay to laugh and have a good time and enjoy what you do and have fun while you're doing it. It's what I think is so important and what people miss out on all the time in sports. People just don't have fun while they're covering it anymore. People just take it so seriously. Enjoy what you do. If you do, and you don't work a day in your life, right? Yesterday, kind of enjoyed it. I'll tell you, I did not enjoy the Chicago Cubs having an absolute meltdown. We'll start with the over 3.5 Ks for Taijuan Walker yesterday. That ended up cashing. He had 5 against the Giants. The Giants continue to strike out a lot. I don't even know how this number was 3.5. I know that we don't trust Taijuan Walker. Come on. 3.5 against the Giants. That's absurd. Tarek Skubal, awesome day yesterday. He ended up with 9 strikeouts, going over 6.5 Ks. Skubal against high K rate teams against lefties, averaging just over 8 strikeouts a game. This being 6.5 was a great take advantage of an early season prop. Usually Skubal in this situation would be 7.5. So you got to make sure to keep an eye out for Skubal early on in the season. I'm sure it's going to go to 7.5 now from this point on. Tampa Bay Rays, not only did that fishy line cash against the Red Sox, they won 16-1. Overs dominated again at Steinbrenner Field. Yesterday I talked about it, how Steinbrenner Field is the home to the second most home runs in baseball behind Yankee Stadium. Funny how that happens. So those were the winners yesterday in Major League Baseball. Losers. I'm going to apologize to Clay Holmes. I doubted you. Maybe there's a part of me that wanted to doubt you because you're a Met now, and I just, after all the Yankees drama that you created in my life and hard times that we've been through together, I don't like to see you move on and be better for the next person you're with. Clay Holmes goes over his strikeout prop, 4.5. He ends up with 8 Ks. The Twins haven't been striking out a lot. I have to get the strikeout prop spreadsheet up. The Twins this year, an updated number, 11 of the 15 righty starters to face the Twins have gone under their strikeout prop. So you think that I really thought that Clay Holmes was going to be one? No. I guess he's a good strikeout pitcher. They probably know something, I guess. Maybe whatever. Clay Holmes goes over. So no more fading him for now. The Pirates, they got the 10-3 win over the Nats, so that fishy line didn't pan out, unfortunately. And that Cubs fishy line, here's the thing. The Cubs fishy line did pan out in the first 5 innings, and then the bullpen decided to blow it. So was the cap correct on the starting pitching? Absolutely. Incorrect about the bullpens, which I didn't talk about because the Cubs bats have been that good on the road. They're the best road hitting team in baseball, scoring the most runs per game as an away team. So yeah, I thought the Cubs would do better. And they didn't. We've got one fishy line today. I'll look at the chat. Walker did it, Daniel. I know. You had faith in it. Jessica said that she liked the team total over for the Giants. That also ended up hitting. So we all ended up cashing yesterday. Not elf drama. No. It was the whole thing about the Braves reporter and how he was getting a phone number from the girls. Just didn't think it was that big a deal. I don't need to take life so seriously. That's what I'm talking about. He didn't hurt anybody. The girls didn't seem annoyed. He was just having a good time, and the booth was giving him a little bit of, like, they were edging him on. Remember, these people work together so many days a year. They're like friends on the broadcast. That's the fun part about baseball season. These people work together so much. Yeah, I didn't want to really dive that into it, but I was just telling people, enjoy what you do. Have fun. This guy, like, I'm a female, and other people can have their opinions. Females in the business have a lot of their own perks for being female, the same way men have perks for being men. I will tell you, I would not trade being a female in this business in for anything. I love being a female in this business. It always helps you to stand out more. It helps you be personable. I just think it gives us somewhat of an advantage for, if you have brains, being in this business, you stand out and are more memorable. So no, I'm not offended by what the Braves reporter did. So that was that. Yeah, canceled by the internet. If a female did that, she would be fired. We don't know that. There are so many bad things that females do in this business to try to get ahead that we should be condemning other things, like basically dressing half naked on the internet. Like, that's bad. So again, I'm not like getting mad about it because he's getting backlash too. He's getting the backlash that a female probably would have gotten too. Females, men, everyone gets backlash for things, okay? But I don't know. I'm not offended. I just wanted you guys to know that. Not offended by the reporter asking for a female's number on air as like a funny joke. Okay, moving on, because that's not what you guys are here for. We're going to talk a little bit about the NBA, and we're going to talk some Major League Baseball today, but Mid-Major Matt is here, so I'm going to bring Mid-Major Matt in. I always hate getting in the weeds of like my analytics and then having to cut myself off. So Mid-Major Matt joining the show. What is going on, Matt?
Nothing much. I am anti-analytics, but that's all right. It's good in certain situations, but sometimes people go overboard on it.
I love analytics when it comes to betting props. I like to use as much data as possible in numbers. You have numbers like I do.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, then, we do numbers at a different level that I think other people do. But there are people who use numbers at even more of a level than we do. And those type of things are not exactly my favorite stuff to look at. But like, yes, you're right. Our K-prop sheet is at analytics to some extent.
Exactly. We just know the difference between using them the right amount or not too much. I just love baseball because baseball is the one sport where analytics can help with your prop betting, as opposed to the NFL. You really have to think about the game script. Numbers aren't going to save you in the NFL, Matt.
No. And then, certain, if you use 3 wide receiver sets, this is what happens. And if you use 2 wide receiver sets, but you put the 2 wide receivers really far out, like sometimes it's just too much. Sometimes it's just analysis by paralysis and a paralysis by analysis. That's what.
But you went to you've got your Syracuse sweatshirt on. You understand that we've got to be smart with our numbers at Syracuse. Like, I feel like this is implied with the Syracuse sweatshirt.
I didn't go to Syracuse for numbers and stuff like that. I mean, and now, the funny thing was when we went to school, I mean, analytics wasn't really a thing. It was just normal statistics.
That's fair. What about the Rays not winning on April 15th in the last 14 years? That's a weird stat. Josh Gold just said that. Did you know that stat?
I did not.
That's so bizarre, but okay. Well, they won yesterday, so Fishy Line is ours. These are Matt's picks for today. Matt, I can't go back to Nick Lodolo. He is in the doghouse, absolute graveyard. This man has lost me back-to-back strikeout props, so I'm out on him on the K props. You like his under 2.5 earned runs allowed. Why?
Yeah, it was tough because I was trying to decide between his outs and his earned runs allowed. It's always tough, and that's the curse and the blessing of being in so many markets, because when you're deciding between two and you inevitably pick the wrong one, that's the problem that people have. But when you look at the Mariners against lefties so far this season, like they just have been pretty bad. You know, Jeffrey Springs held them to 6 shutout innings. J.P. Sears gave up 2 runs. You look at Scooble gave up 3 runs, which is a little tough. But then you look at Robbie Ray with 1 run and Framber Valdez with 0 runs. They have one of the lowest batting averages. And I just like Lodolo against the Seattle team. I considered the strikeouts. I couldn't do it. We both lost on that Giants one that should have won because the Giants strike out against lefties. But
that was ridiculous.
That was horrendous. It was one of our rare double losses that both of us liked. But yeah, I think the earned runs under here is a solid play. The weather's not enough of a factor. The wind is blowing out a little bit, but I'm not that concerned, because if you can't hit the ball, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of the wind.
That's fair. I just am mad at him, so I can't bet anything. Lodolo. Gillespie, what do we know about him? Because I've seen his name pop up. Of course, I think he said 3 starts this year. Was looking at him under his 3.5 Ks today. What do you know about him, and why do you like him to stay in the game a long amount of time?
So the irony is, and I didn't realize this until the start of the season, was he went to VCU, which is one of the schools here in Richmond. So that was really interesting. He's from the Virginia area. He's a guy that I'd like to see succeed, for the fact that I'd love to get him on my radio show here. We had Daniel Lynch on our show, who was a Kansas City Royals reliever who's from the area recently. So that was fun. But he's a guy that he's not necessarily great. But here's the thing about the books, which I find really odd. You know, they hang these 14.5 numbers, and I'll go back to, what was it, Saturday or Sunday when Cal Quantrill pitched. They hung a 14.5 for Quantrill, and it's like, even when Cal Quantrill's not pitching well, he still manages to go 5 innings because he saves the bullpen. And I feel like this could be a situation as to a guy who has gone 5 innings twice this year against the Mets and Pirates, both at home. I think the 14.5 is a cheap number. You also look at the Diamondbacks so far. You know, Peralta went 5 innings. Charlie Morton went 5 innings against these guys. Like, that's Trevor Williams went 5 innings against these guys. Like, I'm not asking him to be Cy Young tonight. I'm not asking him to be this great pitcher. All I want is 5 innings from this guy, and I think we can get it, especially since he's done it twice in both of his starts at home.
Yeah, being at home helps a lot. Have you noticed any home road split differences with Arizona?
Not necessarily. I mean, here's the funny thing about Arizona. They have not been on the road very much this year. They've had 1 road trip. They had 3 games in New York against the Yankees and 3 against the Nats in Washington, D.C., but then they've been home the rest of the time, so there's not a ton of numbers. Remember, this game's not outdoors, so there's no weather sort of situation here. It's just the sheer fact of some of the worst pitchers in baseball have gotten 5 innings against these guys, and I just think that, considering Miami doesn't exactly have a lot of starters that go deep, they need him to go 5. So I'm just going to take a shot at the 14.5. And plus, the juice was pretty reasonable.
Boise Hingy says, I always find myself betting more outs than Ks or earned runs for pitching props. Find it less random to handicap. How much do you agree?
It's my second favorite one behind strikeouts, because you look at certain guys, and we've talked about it, you know, there's certain guys who are good for 5 or 6 innings no matter what. I've brought this up on the show before. Jordan Lyles was a terrible pitcher. Jordan Lyles was a horrendous pitcher, but you know what? He went 5 or 6 innings, even giving up a lot of hits. And so, like, you can kind of figure out, especially since the bullpen usage the night before, you know, I got so lucky last night. The Giants game, Roop gave up 3 runs in the first inning, and I thought, oh God, my outs prop is dead. He ended up going 5 innings. And so, like, you look at some of these stretches, but you know why he went 5 innings? The Giants bullpen was extremely used, and they needed to get the most out of him. So it's one of the ones that has a lot of data points that you can use. And plus, the books love their 17.5s and their 14.5. So I really do like the outs market.
The outs market, I do feel, is underrated. I agree with Sean Michael, who said that the strikeout prop market has been dissected, and we still do well with it. We love our strikeout props. Just don't feel people focus as much on the outs. And I mean, again, you've been doing it now longer than I have. I like it for the bullpen advantages and disadvantages for sure. I didn't look at the strikeout prop today because it was minus 160, but you really like Luzardo over 5.5 Ks if you're willing to lay 160 on it.
Well, and that's the other thing. It was last night. Like those were gone this morning. It was 6.5 this morning. And if you want to see what I put up, I'm tracked on Action Network. It's at midmajor Matt _. I don't know why the underscore is at the end, but I put up the Luzardo bet last night at 5.5 because I mean, the guy is just striking out a ton of batters, 11, 8, and 6 in his 3 starts. And we just talked about with Lodolo, for the most part, lefties against the Giants have been something you want to take advantage of. 5.72 strikeouts last year per start for lefties. And you look, Lodolo went under twice, Rodon went over, and Framber Valdez went over. So at 5.5, I swallowed a lot of juice. I hate it. I would not take it at 6.5 here, but I think at 5.5, I'm a fan of it. And that's why I took it last night.
Here's what everyone should know also. Matt is a Phillies fan. So for him to be backing a Phillies pitcher means that he really likes them, because you told me he was like, you could bet Taijuan Walker if you would like yesterday. He said, go for it. I understand why you like it. I'm not betting it, is what Matt told me yesterday. Then he congratulated me because he's a good friend when it hit. But Matt, you're betting a Phillies pitcher tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that game last night, and obviously I was rooting for you for the Walker bet. And if I wasn't a Phillies fan, I probably would have gone over. All the numbers, I posted on Twitter, I said, all the numbers tell you the 3.5 was a good bet. The Giants strike out a lot. It's just watching Taijuan Walker enough, and you saw last night, Taijuan Walker was a terrible pitcher, but he got the strikeouts we needed. Much like Landon Roop wasn't great, but he got the 5 innings that I needed. So
it's like Hunter Green. Is he like, not anymore? Hunter Green as of 2024, we can't say this about. Young Hunter Green, we could say, is he going to get pulled from giving up too many runs, or is he going to hit the strikeout prop first? That's how I feel with Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, exactly. He's a guy that came back to earth. He had not given up a run in his first 2 starts. So yeah, a lot of people liked it. I'm too close to the team. I watch too many games, but and that's why I kind of a little bit like Verlander, but I saw the number, thank God, is no longer 4.5. It's 5.5 now. I certainly don't like it, but Marsh and Bohm are hitting 8th and 9th, and they're easy outs and easy strikeouts. So I don't know. I'm 0-3 this year on Phillies props, K props. So I'm going to be very careful with that. But that team strikes
on Philly pitchers K props or against the Phillies. Against
the Phillies. Actually, I'm 1-3 total because I hit the Roop outs bet. I lost the earned runs allowed under because the Phillies scored 3 runs in the first inning, even though the umpire missed a strikeout, a strike on a strikeout that would have helped. But yeah, I'm just very careful, much like you probably with the Yankees, with regards to betting on or against my own team.
Yeah, the difference, I guess, well, actually not really. The Phillies probably you're paying a premium too, but the Yankees, I feel like you're paying the ultimate premium for a team that doesn't deserve it every single time. The Cleveland Guardians, first 5 team total over 1.5 runs, -140. They're in Baltimore. They get Charlie Morton, where Morton, when he was with the Braves and he was at home with the Braves, I was more worried about fading him at home in Atlanta. Morton has not looked good pitching anywhere with Baltimore, home or away. So I'm assuming this is a complete Charlie Morton fade.
Yeah. Teams are hitting 273 first time through the order, 391 the second time through the order. Now, here's the thing that I think some people will ask, because Morton's earned runs allowed was also 1.5. The reason why I didn't take that instead is because if he gives up unearned runs, then I lose. But if he gives up unearned runs with this bet, I don't care how the runs are scored, I win. So it's kind of a nuance that people need to look at when it comes to the earned runs market. If you like a guy to get rocked and you think he's not going to last very long, take the first 5 team total over instead, because if there's unearned runs, it doesn't matter for the first 5 team total, but it does for the earned runs allowed market. So I'm leaning more towards that first 5 market here, because if there's unearned runs, I still win. And I think the Guardians are going to hit Charlie Morton really hard, just like everybody else is.
I suffered my first, damn it, I should have bet a first 5 bet last night with those Cubs. The handicap, if I listened to myself, was solely really about the starting pitching matchup and how the Cubs have been hitting really well on the road this year. Did not even think about the bullpens because, I don't know, I just was like, oh, I really like the Cubs. Dumb. If I bet the first 5, Matt, I would have ended up hitting. So it's really important to check on the bullpens.
It is. And it's always important to check on the teams who are really good first 5. back in the olden days when Colorado actually had a good offense, taking them in the first 5 at Coors was always something we probably did. Nowadays, you just basically probably taking the opponent's first 5 at Coors. But like it's always important. And as I said,
what do you use to look at first 5s? Do you have a site you use?
Teamrankings.com has first 5 offenses, and it breaks it down by home and road. This is why we always tell people who are new to baseball and betting baseball, find 1 or 2 markets and just focus on them. And then as you get more confident with that one market, add the next market and then add the next market. And then you could become like us, who kind of looks at a whole bunch of markets and then kicks ourselves when we don't utilize all those markets properly.
Yeah. I'm still upset about it, especially like when it hits in the first 5 and doesn't full game, whatever. You're looking at this really disgusting game. Actually, so am I. It's probably my favorite strikeout prop game of the day. Not just this one. I like another one too. It's the Athletics and the White Sox. Jeffrey Springs versus Sean Burke. You like Burke under 4.5 Ks against the Athletics. People haven't caught on yet, Matt. Tell them what they have to know.
Yeah, the Athletics have gone under 11 times against righties this season so far. They've gone over just 3 times. The only people who have gone over 4.5 is Dollander, the rookie out of Colorado, who's really good. Jamison Tyon, who's really good. Wu and Ben Brown from the Cubs, and then Logan Gilbert. Like, these are all legit people. And, Burke has not gone over this yet. He had 4 strikeouts against the Guardians. He had 1 against Minnesota. He had 3 against the Angels. He's just not a strikeout pitcher, and the Athletics are a contact team. So I think this is a solid bet. Once again, you're getting the agreement of both of us on this one. So that's usually pretty good. I don't know what our record is agreeing yet, but like usually when we both agree, it's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, this game was really intriguing from a strikeout prop perspective for both of these starters. You didn't agree with me, I don't think, on the other side that I like. But for Burke, we do agree on how the Athletics are a trend. And I feel like tonight, Matt, I said this in the Prop Queen newsletter this morning. Tonight is the night we find out if the books still haven't caught on or if they know something we don't know. Because this number at 4.5 for Burke just felt a little too high for the pitcher he is, for the Athletics. So I'm thinking if Burke goes under, the book still hasn't caught on to the A's under trend. But if he goes over, then like the book just knew something we didn't know.
Well, and then look at this. Senga had 4 in 7 innings. Cease had 4 in 4 innings. Michael King had 2 in 5 2/3 innings.
Yeah.
And these are really good pitchers. Luis Castillo had 4 in 5 innings. So, like, these are really good pitchers. Sean Burke is not one of these great pitchers. The guy I do love on the White Sox and have made a lot of money on is Shane Smith, but he's not pitching tonight. But, like, Sean Burke is just mediocre, and I think we can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think tonight's going to be that telltale sign of if that is a trend we have to continue to back righties against the Athletics this year, not striking out as much as they did last year. Matt, you know what I was really upset about today?
What?
So when I was looking on ESPN last night, when I was just looking through some of like the matchups for today, ESPN initially had Kikuchi versus Corbin. I didn't know what we would have deserved or done to deserve a matchup that fantastic, but they pulled Corbin and now it's Tyler Mahle.
Yeah. See, I'm not anti-Kikuchi like you are. He got me the 6 innings I needed, and he was at like 105 pitches last start. Like, they should have taken him out a while ago. I think he gave up a grand slam to the Rays in that game, and he should have been gone a while ago, but he got me the outs over I needed in that game. So I am not as anti-Kikuchi as you are, but yeah, on the Corbin side of things.
If it was Kikuchi versus Corbin, that would have been an epic fade battle. Not that I've been fading Kikuchi too much recently, but I don't like to back him.
No, you don't. Can we just bring up another thing tonight that'll be really interesting to watch?
What?
It was something we were discussing. Spencer Schwellenbach against the Jays. So you initially liked the under, and I was slightly on the over. I didn't end up playing it. But when you look at, and I think this is the other thing we need to look at early on in strikeout props, it's the pitchers that they're facing. You look at Toronto so far and all the righties that they've faced so far, arguably all of them are, I wouldn't say garbage, but none of them are that great. And I think we're getting potentially some false numbers from Toronto. And I really like Schwellenbach. I have an over on his season strikeout total, which so far is not doing too badly. But I want to see if Toronto's numbers are for real against righties.
But you don't even believe their numbers from last year? Toronto only averaged just over 4 strikeouts a game. They were 55-63 over under.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I just think Schwellenbach is just that good. And I think he is the best.
4.5 slow.
You can argue he is the best starting pitcher they're facing this year from the right side. You could argue that. Like, who would you even say going into this game? And I know some of the people probably aren't listening or looking at the K-prop spreadsheet, but like, who would you say is the best right-hander they've faced before Schwellenbach tonight?
Oh, you're saying overall this season who Toronto
just the righties. Just the righties. Like, they face good lefties, but like the righties, it's mostly terrible pitchers.
Yeah, we said McGill. We said Buehler had 7.
But he hasn't been good this year for the most part. That was a rare, really good outing.
Yeah, but Buehler still has good stuff. Like, I would put him in still that category of a good pitcher that they faced. Nobody else, really. I'll name them for everybody. Eflin, Morton, Kramer, Sugano, Soroka, Trevor Williams, Tyler McGill, fine, but he only had 4. Griffin Canning, no. Fitz, no. Tanner Houck, no. He had 2. Walker Buehler had 7. Sugano again, 0. And then Grant Holmes had 4. So, yeah, Toronto's really not faced anyone. But for me, Matt, that would just be stay away and see what happens with Toronto as opposed to betting aside.
Oh, correct. Yeah, this will tell us a lot about Toronto. And Sergio, you're correct. I shouldn't have said garbage. They're not very good pitchers. They're not in none of those pitchers that she named are in the top 30, even in top 30 of right-handed starting pitchers. So I want to see how they do against a legit right-handed starting pitcher before we kind of pronounce any sort of thing regarding Toronto versus righties.
No, I agree with that. That is one of those that we have to wait and see. There are a few wait and see teams for me on a strikeout prop market. The Astros are wait and see, a team that barely struck out last year, and now all of a sudden they're very like hot and cold on the Ks. There was another team that I feel like has been super like, and now Minnesota too after yesterday, honestly. With Clay Holmes going over 4.5 Ks, I'm like, Twins, you all of a sudden strike out a lot?
Well, and the Nats too against righties. The Nats had that awful series against the Phillies, and then since then, only Berrios had 8. We saw Skeens yesterday only had 6. He went under his number against them. But other than that, the Nationals have kind of returned to their contact ways. Is this
John said Guardians too?
Yeah, the Guardians are also there. That was a team that you took unders no matter what, and then you look at these last couple of games. I mean, Cannon had 6. Cannon's not really a strikeout pitcher. And he had 6 despite giving up 6 runs to the Guardians. So, yeah, this is the key here is to kind of stay in your lane in terms of the teams you know, and then keep your eye on the teams we don't know yet for the future going forward.
Speaking of what we don't know, it looks like Spencer Strider is getting the start tomorrow in Toronto at 1:00.
His number is going to be probably too high. And we have to just find out. I'm guessing he's going to go 3 or 4 innings, and there may be a chance to go under. There may be. These first starts, these guys are when they come off the IL, the books just kind of assume that they're going to return. I think DeGrom had a really high number last year in his first start, and he was never going to get
DeGrom's like second or third start of the year was a 6.5 this year.
Exactly. He's never going to get to that again, or at least for a little bit, because he's working his way back. This is the first legitimate action for Spencer Strider in over a year. So I'm hoping the books hang like a 5.5 maybe, and we can go under, because I'm guessing he's going to go 3 or 4 innings.
A 5.5 would be nice. We're seeing like 1 strikeout prop of a drop off in the return. So hopefully 5.5 would be good for us. But if they give us a 5.5, they're going to overly juice that under.
Sadly, yes, because the books, and that's the thing that bothers me. I know it bothers you. Like, if you're going to juice something that much, like, I'm not going to bet
just
it.
Move it.
Exactly. Move the number.
No, people are dumb, though. They're dumb. Before I let you go, Matt, Hakeem has a question for you, and he's coming up next. So just get ready for the rebuttal. Sixers, should they just blow it up?
I mean, yeah. I mean, not Maxey. Next year, we're building around Maxey and McCain and Yabusele, who I want to sign, and Quentin Grimes. Like, I get rid of everybody else.
Cooper Flag?
Well, he's not coming to us. By the way, when they put out the odds for the lottery, I will put a large sum of money, and I'm really kidding when I say this, but there's no way Adam Silver's letting us keep that pick in the top 6. So, like, if I can find a book that offers odds as to whether or not the team gets the draft in the lottery, I will put a lot on the no. The NBA will not allow us to have that lottery pick because the NBA hates us for some reason.
I mean, it's the city of brotherly love, no?
No, Adam Silver's hated us since the process, and he has made sure to ruin us. He made us. I think Adam Silver made us lose Hinkie to go put the Colangelos in there and let them ruin our franchise. And Sean, I hope you're right, but the NBA is not going to fix the lottery for Cooper Flag to go to Philly. I would have said maybe New Orleans to put Zion with Cooper Flag, but maybe not. Maybe he just stays in Charlotte and goes and plays for the Hornets. There's not a chance they're giving us the first pick overall.
Matt is just a complete miserable Philly fan, and I hope that your at least Philadelphia Phillies can find a way to win because they deserve to after this little chip on their shoulder. The city deserves it too. They're a great city. Just the Sixers are an absolute disaster. Mid-Major Matt, thanks for coming on. Good luck with your bets tonight. See you again on Friday.
Sounds good.
Let's bring him on for the rebuttal. Hakeem Ski Profit. Are we just blowing it up in Philly?
It's not much of a rebuttal. I just like to mess with Matt because the Sixers are not good. But
are the Sixers ever going to be good again?
Ever? Yeah. In the near future, probably not. I can agree with him. Maybe not Maxey, but I wouldn't be mad if they gave traded Maxey as well because I don't see them being good in the near future.
Oh, it is so sad for a team that on paper just looked like they had so much potential. And again, it's Joel Embiid in those knees. It's worse than Mitch Robinson. And Shawn Michaels said here, Pelicans said today they're trading Zion.
I wouldn't be mad at that either if they did say that.
Where do you want Zion to go? Another one that can't stay healthy.
Where do I want him to go? I just want him to take his career seriously wherever he goes. I mean, he can go anywhere. If he's not taking it serious, it doesn't matter. I do want to rebut, I guess, a couple of things.
It's a funny word.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. But
I don't know if it's a real word, but we can make it one.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, at least. All right, so Matt,
what's the rebut?
He was a little bit nicer than I am. And Sergio also says calling a professional player garbage is total disrespect, which is okay opinion. But Kikuchi, he's in that garbage category for me. And Kikuchi versus Corbin, that would feed families. If that was the matchup for today, you might even get myself to bet baseball.
Yeah, Hakeem doesn't bet baseball till after basketball season's over. But Hakeem hates UC Kikuchi. Why do you hate him so much?
I wouldn't say I hate him because he makes me money fading him. It's just I don't think he's good. That's just what it boils down to. If I
like
can
opening day and you're like, he ain't an ace.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. And sure enough, you saw what happened. So,
well, we're bringing you on to talk NBA today because I talked a lot of NBA by myself in the last few days, and I have a few thoughts on the slate tonight, but I guess we could start big picture.
Sure.
We always talk about this in the playoffs. You get mad at me, and you're right, because I always bet numbers, and the NBA is like one of the main sports that you just can't rely solely on numbers for. What do you look at when you're handicapping these NBA playoff games?
Yes. I mean, numbers are not good. Especially like full season. Full season numbers won't tell the full story right now. Last 5 game numbers won't tell the full story because some of these teams didn't even need to win these games. Like the top teams didn't even play anybody. So it's just more so matchup based. Coaching matters a lot in the playoffs. Situations do still matter, but as far as like this person or this team averages this much from above the break 3 versus like
AKA everything I do.
That's my personal opinion. Okay.
No, I know.
I've had success betting NBA playoffs most years.
Yeah, you do. You do a great job. And I always regret not betting more of your stuff in the NBA playoffs. The play-ins are pretty new still. So what have you noticed in the last few years with the play-ins versus the playoffs?
It's very similar, actually. I was honestly against it, but the more I see the play-ins, I start to like it. It just gives us more meaningful basketball, which is what all of us have wanted. And when you get meaningful basketball, you're going to get that effort. And that's really what defense is all about. I mean, a lot of teams just don't care during the regular season.
Yeah.
Um, but in situations like this, I mean, more so tomorrow, where it's whoever wins goes home, like their season is over, you're going to see max effort. So that's what I've noticed in the play-in. I think we've seen 70, a little bit above 70% of the games go under. So it makes sense why, if you just look at these 4 playing games that are posted right now, every single total except for one has dropped quite a bit.
Yeah, they're all below 220 outside of the Grizzlies Warriors tonight.
Yeah. Even that one, that dropped 4.5 points from the opener. So
Wow.
it makes sense. I guess at some point the market is going to adjust and the totals will be too low and start to go over. But that's definitely what I noticed. I mean, meaningful basketball is going to mean lower scoring games.
You've got a good defense on the floor tonight with the Orlando Magic, 6-point favorites at home against the Atlanta Hawks. That total 219. What do you like in that matchup?
Yeah, this is one surprisingly, I mean, or not surprisingly, but funny that this is the one that didn't go down, and this is the one I like to go under. Like you said, Magic do play a slower defensive game. I mentioned the 70 above 70% under trend for the play-in, and just I'll talk a little bit more about the Hawks because we know what we're getting from the Magic. When you think about the Hawks, you don't think about a defensive team over the past I don't know how many years. Still, you can look at the last 5 years for them in the playoffs. They're 22, 10, and 1 to the under. That goes back to what I say about, you're going to get that higher effort on that end. And not only that, like on the offensive end, Trae Young is a guy who can control the entire game. He'll take as much time as he needs on the shot clock to make sure his team gets good shots. And that also, helps you out when it's tick, 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 and you have under the total. So tonight, 219, that seems like a little bit too much. Last season, when we saw the Magic in the playoffs, their games were landing more around 200 or 202 points, something like that. I think that's more of what we see tonight. So under is what I like in this one.
Any props?
I know you're the prop queen, but I'll say this: I like under in the game, and 5 of their last 7 meetings have gone under. But I'll say the last one didn't really matter. It was the last game of the season.
Yeah, no. No one really played.
But saying this to say, like their games usually go under, but even though the games go under, Paolo goes over. He's had like above 30 every single time that they played the Hawks. I'm pretty sure if you look it up, the last 3 for sure. And every
He's had
time he
30
plays the Hawks,
plus.
yeah, 30 plus. So I don't see why
I was
he
going to
doesn't get
save
there
this
again
for
tonight.
later on in the show, but I'm going to bring this up. Wait, hold on. I'm going to bring you back in a second.
All right.
Hold on. I need to where is my, okay. I was going to talk about this later, but I'll bring it up with you and we could hash it out. I like Franz Wagner to go over his points more than Paolo Banchero. Look at the second column. Banchero, so he's on the right, Wagner's on the left. Banchero in the 6 games together at home against a bottom 10 defense like the Hawks, his points goes down a lot. And that's a 6-game sample size. It's not a lot, but it's not a little. I mean, look at that point drop off. And the 2 of them together against bad defenses. I know that Banchero's had great numbers in those 3 games against Atlanta, but Wagner looks like the more viable option tonight.
Well, I think it's more so like the guys who can guard. Well, I mean, he did score versus Atlanta too.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his prop number? Oh, 25.5.
Yeah, it went up from 24.5. Per Hard Rock, according to Sean Michael, 94% of the public is on Paolo Banchero over 30.5. That's not a surprise.
It makes sense. When you continue to win on a prop and you just won on this prop like a week ago, you're going to want to go back to it. So that makes sense. I think both of them can hit, honestly. I'm not mad at either one. I think it'll be a heavy dose of both. It's just for me, what I watch, Atlanta they have the smaller guys who can maybe guard Franz a little bit better than guarding Paolo. Like, I think he's just too big. He just bullies his way around and gets wherever he wants to go. And I think that's what I like about his matchup for Atlanta. But does that mean Franz is not going over? No, it doesn't. I think both can hit.
Yeah, I mean, they both have in 2 of the 3. Paolo, of course, has the way better numbers, but you're right. Atlanta really doesn't have like what they have, like Okongwu and like Capella maybe, but he's
not
barely
playing.
right.
Capella's
He's
out.
not
Nance is
playing.
out. Like, I Paolo can really do what he wants. And, this
Right.
is a guy saying he has the under on the game, but,
Yeah, just limiting Atlanta.
yeah, I think that can work.
They just don't do anything.
Dyson Daniels, like Sean says, that's the guy for Atlanta who's going to be locking people up. So I don't think necessarily he can guard Banchero, but he can do a better job on Franz.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels has been an underrated name for sure. I was thinking, so now in the next game, Grizzlies Warriors, and we'll get to your actual plays on this. But when I texted you today and I said I hate the Warriors, I hate betting any props with them, I was like, I'm just waiting for Hakeem to tell me to go look at pods again. All season long, Hakeem just tells me pods, pods, pods. What do you think about him tonight against the Grizz, who do struggle against guards?
I mean, yeah, he's been playing very well. I'm the kind of guy who likes to ride the streak, and I like everything I've been seeing from him. He's playing with a lot of confidence. So, in general, when the Warriors have played the Grizzlies, they've been able to name their number. Whether it's putting people in pick and roll or it's just a lot of ways that the Warriors are able to score on the Grizzlies. So I'm not mad at that.
I just hate this team. And the reason I love the Warriors is because I hate the Warriors. I love the Warriors because anyone could go off on any given night. And I hate the
Exactly.
Warriors because anyone could go off on any given night from a prop perspective. So, like, example, Sean saying, don't forget playoff Jimmy. Well, what about playoff Steph? What about playoff? Like, there's so many playoff versions of the Warriors. How the hell do you handicap this team in the playoffs?
It's a prop nightmare, but it's not a nightmare when you're betting sides.
So what do you like in this matchup? You've got the Warriors laying 7 at home against the Grizz.
Man, this is very, very tough. So
see,
I'm gonna talk it out with you. How about that? We'll talk it out. So my first initial thought when I saw this game is the Warriors are way better than the Grizzlies. The Warriors have the better coach, right? The Grizzlies coach just got fired. They're at home. Like, so many things. I've seen them kill this Grizzlies team. So many things line up for me to say, yeah, it's really easy for me to go take the Warriors. Things I don't like, I'm like, the Grizzlies didn't play their starters last game, so they really had 3 days to rest before this. The Warriors are coming off an overtime game. I think that takes a lot out of them. Jimmy, I'm pretty sure he's going to play. He did look like he banged himself up a little bit at the end of last game. We'll see how much. But Grizzlies are healthy. They're the more rested team. I personally think if you like the Grizzlies, you should take them early. I think they come out and throw the first punch. Then at halftime, the coaching advantage, those kind of things start to kick in and the Warriors get themselves together. So if I'm making one play right now, I don't love the 7 number. I would lean a little bit more towards either Grizzlies first half, like plus 190, I see, or Grizzlies first half team total is 52.5. That seems pretty low.
Well, the Warriors are a top 10 defense, but I see your point about the Grizzlies. Like, coming off the overtime game in Golden State, but I just don't trust the Grizzlies defense at all. They're so bad, and their perimeter D is atrocious. So for Steph, he just put 52 on this team.
So if we're thinking like that, which I agree with, I don't really trust the Grizzlies defense. It makes me think 52.5 is kind of short for a first half team total for the Grizzlies. Like, if I think they have a chance to win the first half and we don't trust their defense, how did they not score 53? That's just my thought process.
I understand 53 is a pretty decent, like, average number, I feel like, for a first half in the NBA to go over. But I was talking to you about someone I saw in the chat brought up Edie. And I said to Hakeem this morning, because it's true, if you go game by game through the last 10 Warriors games, they've been allowing a lot of boards. My problem is, I don't trust Zach Edey, and he just had a good game on the boards last time around against the Warriors. That wasn't 2 months ago. That was like 2 weeks ago. In the NBA, when a player does something within a month against a team, it usually doesn't happen again within the same month unless your name is Steph Curry. So when you're betting a rookie like Edey, or a young player like Edey, I just don't trust him to go over these rebounds again for a second straight game against Golden State.
I can agree with that. And I mean, like I say, matchup wise, right? I think he's a guy you can take advantage of time and time again in a pick and roll or just get switches or whatever you want to do. And Jessica in the chat, makes good points. He fouls too much when he plays this team
That
because he can't guard. And maybe an alternative could be Aldama over that 19 and a half point rebounds and assists because he's going to get Edie's minutes. And that makes a lot of sense to me. So
makes sense.
I agree with you. Edie's probably not the best person to bet on tonight as far as overs. Um, you got to worry about Jaren Jackson Jr. fouling too. He's a hack too.
Don't
So.
say that. I like him tonight.
Well, they'll need him. I guarantee you that. They definitely need him out there on the floor.
Of course, that's who Hakeem tells me is a hack is JJJ. That's who I like. Gosh.
Well, what do you like for him?
So I'll show you this chart. I got another chart. You know me and my charts.
Yeah.
So these three, Ja, what is it? J cubed and Desmond Bain, who's Babe, who's no longer Babe. For people that don't know, Desmond Bain, 2 years ago, was our 3-point shooter of the year.
Everything can't last forever.
No, but Babe was, and Bain in autocorrect changes to Babe a lot. So whenever Hakeem and I would say it's a great matchup for Desmond Bain, it changed it to Babe. So now he's just Babe. So Babe doesn't really have great numbers in these spots against good defenses this year. His numbers go from, especially on the road, they drop a bit too. His points prop, I think you're just paying a premium too high on Desmond Bain. JJJ, Jaren Jackson Jr., he looks pretty good in the spots. He does better on the road. Only one game with the three of them together against Golden State because Ja didn't play in 2 of those games. So it's kind of hard to consider that. But I would say out of this list, you're going to pay a premium on Ja, probably a premium on Bain. And I think that Jaren Jackson Jr. has the best numbers and it backs it up. But again, you hate numbers. So
I don't hate numbers. It just, I don't put everything into the numbers. But this one, I mean, what are we looking at for Jaren Jackson Jr.? Because I mean, if Edie's off the floor, I mean, he should be the one grabbing the boards, right? And
he hasn't been grabbing a lot of boards recently, though.
Versus Golden State, I just feel like the way, if Golden State, look at their starting lineup, Draymond starting at center, right? Jaren Jackson Jr. just matches up better there than Zach Edey. So I think he'll end up playing a lot more in this game as long as he can stay out of the fouls. And,
right. Yeah, I was looking at him for points. I didn't really love Ja Morant tonight just because, again, with these star players, Hakeem, you're paying the premium on a star, and I just can't do it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll be I think we'll see some grenades out there tonight. So
I agree with you. I agree.
I'm rooting for some, so I'll say that.
I'm rooting for chaos because the NBA needs it. We've got play-in games again tomorrow with Miami, Chicago, Dallas, Sacramento. Then the playoff games start on Saturday. Looking ahead, because, the public's probably not jumping into these NBA playoff games until later in the week. Where should people jump in now?
Well, I'll skip tomorrow's games. I mean, I'll look a little bit more at Saturday. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I can talk a lot about a lot of these games. Let's talk about the Pacers and the Bucks.
Yeah, let's talk about that with this messy Bucks team.
Well, I'll say this. To start, I've been back and forth on the side. The total I feel pretty strong about, and I'm getting closer to backing the side. So I'll start with the total. The Pacers, we know who they are. They like to play up tempo. If they're not playing,
is there any other way to bet the Pacers than an over?
No. If they're not playing fast, they're not going to be playing well. That's just what it is. And if you watch them last postseason, if you listen to them, that's all that they said. And the Bucks, they're comfortable playing in an up-tempo game, pushing the pace. Giannis, he's a matchup nightmare for Indiana. So,
Miles Turner.
Yeah, Giannis gonna do whatever he wants. And if you look at what Giannis has been doing,
I could do anything against Miles Turner.
The Lego man.
God, he's a nightmare.
So the Bucks ended the season playing a lot of games without Lillard. Giannis played, I think, 6 of them, and he was killing everybody. I mean, he averaged like 30-something. He averaged a triple-double, 30-something points, double-digit assists, double-digit rebounds. I think he can do that again versus Indiana team. They have absolutely nobody that can stop him. So I think you can look at his overs when you get to your props on that game. But just for the game in general, we need teams that played all 4 meetings this season have eclipsed the total we're looking at tonight. The playoff matchup last year, people might forget that they played. 4 out of 6 also went over. The Bucks, they've gone over 7 of their last 8 games with Giannis in and Dame out of the lineup. So I don't really care that Lillard is going to be missing in this game. I know it's going to be played up tempo. I trust Giannis to do whatever he wants. I think this game is more in the 230s. So that's how I feel
Yeah,
about
I know.
the total.
I know that Shawn Michael was saying Dame rolled out, by the way. Yeah, we know they've been playing without Dame. This isn't a surprise. They've gotten used to it. They know what to do. They weren't expecting Dame to return anyway. So the fact he might even return for the playoffs is a shocker.
How about this? I think he will return, but regardless, even if he was not, what I've seen from Giannis playing lately and what I've seen from Giannis in the past, he's proven enough to me, and he looks damn good right now. For the Pacers,
You think the Bucks upset the Pacers in the series?
I mean, you're getting a really good price. The Pacers are minus 205. I don't think the Pacers should be laying that big of a number. They don't look as good as they did last season, and if they don't have the best player on the court, like I think the Bucks can steal this series. Do I think the Bucks are really good? Like, can win the East or something like that? Absolutely not. But I think this Pacers team is vulnerable, and I think Giannis can take advantage. So I haven't bet it yet, but I'm very much considering Bucks at that nice number, which should be close to 2-1, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. What would you say? I've got to let you go. What would you say is your favorite, whether it's a series price, a future going into this first round of the playoffs?
Well, I already bet. I mean, it's probably pretty popular, but I did bet the Lakers to win.
Oh, no. We're not doing this. Oh, no. Mr. Lakers homer. I am not having this nonsense on the show. Absolutely not. We are not giving out Lakers, Hakeem.
Okay, I'll give a little love to a team I don't usually give love to. How about that?
And I just want everyone to know, every time that I have backed the Lakers, because Hakeem, who's a Lakers fan, told me to, it loses. So that is why we are not going to say Voldemort on the show.
It's okay. I understand. I won't say curse words anymore. But a team I don't usually give love to. How about this? I think the Clippers can win the series versus the Nuggets. The Nuggets.
I think so too.
Another team that is vulnerable, lost their coach, hasn't been playing the best basketball. Clippers been on fire. I think they won 18 of their last 21 games. They're healthy. Clippers look really good. Lions moving in their favor. I think they can win.
I agree with you. I think the Clippers are a sleeper. Absolutely. I know Daniel likes that. Hakeem, I'm definitely going to have you on again soon to talk NBA playoffs because there's nobody in the world I trust more than talking the NBA with you. Everyone make sure to give him a follow on all his socials because Hakeem crushes. I'm going to knock wood. He does crush the NBA playoffs though. And he is following all the quotes, all the narratives. We'll make sure to talk to you again very soon. Good luck this week and good luck this weekend.
Thanks for having me. Good luck to you too.
Thanks, Hakeem. Okay. Now I've got a few segments to get to. We've got 7 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that BetMGM sent me, yes, we could do propaganda. Oh my God. The #1 most bet on prop today. Whoo! Oh, I'm excited to talk about this. Let me add this into the chat. Let's see if it lets me add it. I couldn't make it all nice and fancy because I didn't have time to make a graphic for it. Let's get to propaganda. This goes hand in hand with one of the stats I was going to lay out about baseball today. Aaron Judge is the most bet on prop in baseball today for him to hit a home runs at plus 185. First of all, to be paying to be betting a plus 185 for an anytime home run is silly. Look who's on my unders list. Aaron Judge. Look at his numbers against Michael Wacha, the Royals starter. 1 for 21 with 12 strikeouts. It's not to say that Judge can't hit the bullpen. And of course, it's a home run. So, like, I'm not going to tell you at Yankee Stadium, Aaron Judge at home run's a bad bet. But, like, at plus 185 with these numbers against Michael Wacha, knowing that it's the most bet-on prop in baseball today, it's a bad bet. So, Aaron Judge over a half a home run now. Vladdy, everyone, this keeps going on the top 5, like, most bet-on props list. Everyone's waiting for the Vladdy homer post-signing the contract. Again, I'm not a big anytime home run prop person, but these are your top 5 most bet-on props according to BetMGM. Take a good look, and I'm sure Ohtani's number plus 260 again, like, terrible. So I would stay away from these props today. Props that you could bet overs on today. Carlos Santana has great numbers against Charlie Morton, that game in Baltimore today. Wilmer Flores has great numbers against Jesus Luzardo in Philly. Bryce Harper, great numbers against Justin Verlander. Josh Bell, also great numbers against Mitch Keller. Not a huge sample size, but 6 for 9, double and a homer. Randy Arozarena, he also has very good numbers, but small sample size, 4 for 6 with the double and 2 homers against Nick Lodolo. There's no Patrick Corbin today. He got scratched. Then Yusei Kikuchi, Adolis Garcia, he's got good numbers, but again, small sample size. He's got 2 homers against Kikuchi. What else am I leaving out today? Fishy lines. Oh, of course. Let's come. Yeah, let's do fishy lines. This is the fishy line of the day. So the Detroit Tigers are taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. This fishy line is super fishy, considering the line has moved 10 cents against the Tigers, despite majority of action coming in on them. So I already bet this today. I bet the Brewers. You've got to look at the starting pitching again. I know that the public is definitely going to love Jack Flaherty on the mound, right? Because he's the big name pitcher on the mound for the Tigers. They just whooped the Brewers 9-1 yesterday. 3rd straight loss for Milwaukee. Big name pitcher, recency bias. Perfect storm for the public. Except Jack Flaherty's numbers at American Family Field in Milwaukee are bad. 10 career starts. He's 1-4 with a 5.55 ERA. The Brewers right-hander, Quinn Priester, he's actually making his first home start for Milwaukee. He got traded over to the Brewers last week. Had a good first start as a Milwaukee Brewer. At Coors Field, only allowed 1 run, 5 innings, 6 hits. He also grew up, Priester, an hour and a half from American Family Field. So this is going to be a game for potentially his family to come, friends, etc. Christian Yelich should be back in the lineup for Milwaukee. He wasn't in yesterday. He's been slumping. Yelich has good numbers against Flaherty. 39 plate appearances, 2 home runs, hitting .273. So the Brewers are a team that I would definitely be looking out for today. Smells a little fishy. K-props to watch. So I was talking about this one with Gillespie under 3.5 Ks. I spoke about this earlier with mid-major Matt. He's getting the Diamondbacks who just really don't strike out a lot. He hasn't seen a team like the D-backs yet this year. They're a lineup that doesn't strike out. Of the 10 righty starters to face Arizona this year, 8 have gone under their strikeout prop, averaging 3.5 strikeouts a game. The 2 teams that Gillespie has faced this season, they're the Pirates and the Mets. Both teams average a full strikeout more than the Diamondbacks do this year. Gillespie in those starts had 4, 6, and 2 strikeouts. So if he went under, again, like, it's not my favorite of the day, but it's one to definitely look out for. McGill under 6.5 Ks was a number I looked at too, but only betting the under 6.5. I don't even know if it still exists. 5.5 is no, under 6.5. The Twins also haven't been striking out a lot. 11 of the 15 righty starters to face the Twins have gone under their strikeout prop, averaging just under 4 Ks a game. I could see him getting 5, maybe 6, but not 7 for McGill. I already spoke about Burke with mid-major Matt before, but I'm now, because we have 1 minute left, going to get to my best bets of the day, Royal Locks. Royal Locks of the day, Jeffrey Springs over 5.5 strikeouts. I covered him when he was a Down East Wood Duck in A-ball in Kinston, North Carolina. Shout out. This game, no one's going to watch it, but I do. The starting southpaw for the Athletics, Jeffrey Springs, it's like in his one start against the strikeout prone lineup this year against lefties, Springs had 9 strikeouts against the Mariners. That was on the road. That was his first start of the season too. Then he had other starts against Oakland and Baltimore, or sorry, the A's in Baltimore, but neither of those teams are striking out as much as the White Sox. The other lefties to face the White Sox, Kikuchi had 5, Allen 4, Newcomb 6, and Crochet 11. There's a good shot that you're getting a good buy low situation here on Springs, so I would take the over. Just mentioned Brewers in fishy lines, so that's my fishy line of the day. I'm going to fade Jack Flaherty and his bad numbers in Milwaukee and take the Brewers on the money line. Then Franz Wagner over 24.5 points. I said this in the segment with Hakeem that I really like Franz Wagner's numbers against bottom 10 defenses, which he's getting in the he's getting with the Atlanta Hawks tonight. 15 games together with Paulo Banchero. He's averaging 24, but that number at home goes up to 26 points a game against bad defenses. Everyone's talking about Banchero's numbers against the Hawks this year. He's averaging 33 points a game. He's the 94% we said in the chat at Hard Rock for most bet on prop tonight. And then you look at Wagner. I mean, no one's talking about him, but he also had good games against Atlanta. So I would be taking the name that the public's not on, and that's Franz Wagner, who has great numbers as well. So I love those as my 3 royal locks of the night. Springs over K's, Brewers money line, and Wagner over 24.5 points. Thanks everybody for tuning into the show. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Enjoy the NBA play-in games. Enjoy some Major League Baseball. Enjoy hockey. We're going to have some hockey guests later this week. Don't worry, I didn't forget that those playoffs start this weekend as well. Good luck to your bets, and I will see you guys tomorrow.